Well, good morning, boys and girls. This is Miss Nancy from the Upper Chichester Library in Upper Chichester, Pennsylvania. Today, I hope you're all ready to settle down and listen to some stories, but first I thought we would sing about the babies on the bus. It's just fun to get started with a little bit of song, and I've sung this before and we'll do it again from time to time. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round around, all through the town. The doors on the bus open and close, open and close, open and close. The doors on the bus open and close, all through the town. The driver on the bus says, move on back, move on back, move on back. The driver on the bus says, move on back, all through the town. The babies on the bus sing, la la la, la la la, la la la. The babies on the bus sing, la la la, all through the town. I hope you're singing along with me some. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 swish. The wipers on the bus go swish, 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 all over the town. The babies on the bus bounce, bumpity bump bump, bumpity bump bump. The babies on the bus bounce, bumpity bump, all through the town. Let's see what they do next. The horn on the bus goes toot, 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 toot. The horn on the bus goes toot, 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 all through the town. The babies on the bus cry, wah, 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 wah. The babies on the bus cry, wah, 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 all through the town. The driver on the bus says, shh, 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 shh. The driver on the bus says, shh, 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 all through the town. The babies on the bus fall fast asleep, fast asleep, fast asleep. The babies on the bus fall fast asleep, all through the town. It does look like they all fell fast asleep on the bus. The motor on the bus goes zoom, 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 zoom. The motor on the bus goes zoom, 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 all over town. The driver on the bus says, everyone up, everyone up, everyone up. The driver on the bus says, everyone up, all through the town. The babies on the bus say, bye, 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 bye. The babies on the bus say, bye, bye, bus, now it's time to go. So I hope you all sang along with me. We'll do this some other days too. Now, the first story that I'm going to read to you today is a Disney story called Rue's Bad Dream. Now, this story was written by Guy Davis and illustrated by Keith Batchelor. So, Rue is from Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh and his friends were sitting around a campfire. They were all enjoying a lovely evening, toasting marshmallows and telling stories, because that's what you do around a campfire. Suddenly, there was a loud rustling sound in the woods, and it was getting closer. Oh dear, whispered Piglet. That sounds like a huffalump. Now, have we ever heard of a huffalump? I don't think so. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Everyone jumped and hugged each other close. See, there's Tigger, there's Pooh, there's Rue, and there's Piglet. Heffalump, squeaked Pooh. Then from out of the woods came a long, low, moaning sound. Roo had never been so scared. The moan grew louder still. The bushes parted, and out stumbled Rabbit, cried everyone at once. Why, we thought you were a heffalump, said Pooh. Oh, heavens, no, answered Rabbit, dusting himself off. When I saw the campfire, I wanted to see what was going on, but I ran into a tree in the dark. Just then, Kanga showed up. It's getting late, Roo, dear, said Kanga. Time for bed. Now we know that Kanga is actually Roo's mama. Yes, Mama, answered Roo, who was only too happy to head for home. Good night, everyone. And everyone said good night to him, too. Roo told his mother what had happened in the woods. We thought Rabbit was a heffalump, Mama, he said excitedly. It was so scary. Kanga smiled at Roo as she tucked him into bed. Now, dear, she said. There's nothing to be afraid of. Have sweet dreams now, little Roo. Roo quickly fell asleep, but he tossed and turned and tossed and turned. Instead of dreaming sweet dreams, he started dreaming about a heffalump. I guess that's what he thinks a heffalump looks like. Roo dreamed of big heffalumps. Roo dreamed of little heffalumps. And then Roo dreamed that the heffalumps were chasing him. Oh, that would be a scary dream. So he woke up. Shaken, Roo awoke with a start. As he lay in the darkness, he heard a scratch outside his window. Then Roo noticed a scary shadow on his wall. Heffalumps, thought Roo. He was quite frightened. Roo called for his mother, because when little ones are frightened, they call for their mothers. Kanga came to Roo's room at once to see what was the matter. Mama, said Roo breathlessly, there's a heffalump outside my window. I think there's another one inside my room. There it is. And he pointed to what he thought was a heffalump. What do you think that really is? Oh, there, dear, said Kanga sweetly. You've just had a bad dream. There's no such thing as a heffalump. You're just imagining it. But it seems so real, said Roo. The noise you heard was just a tree branch rubbing against the window, added Kanga, and the shadow was just the moon shining through the tree branches. You are safe, my little one, said Kanga. Tucking Roo into bed, she began softly to hum to him a gentle lullaby. Roo knew his mama was right, and that heffalumps really aren't real. He snuggled under his blankets and drifted happily off to sleep. Good night, little Roo, whispered Kanga. I love you. So that was about a bad dream, and I bet sometimes you little ones have bad dreams. I know occasionally I have a bad dream too, and it will wake me up, but they're not real. That's the best thing about a bad dream. They're not real. Well, now the next story I'd like to read is a little golden book, and again, it's Walt Disney's Lady and the Tramp. And I thought this was a very happy family story that you might enjoy about two dogs that became very good friends with each other. It's based on a story by Ward Green, and the illustrations are done by the Walt Disney Studio. Now, I don't know whether that's in Florida or in California, but there are Walt Disney Studios in both places. In fact, I have a son who was working for a little while in the Walt Disney Studio in Florida, just when he was a boy. He spent a couple of days there drawing and being shown how to draw in the way that Walt Disney likes for things to be drawn. Now, Lady, in this story that we're going to read, was a Cocker Spaniel who came to live with two people, and they were called Darling and Jim Dear. She had two neat feeding bowls of her own. She had a basket with a blanket in it, too. But she trained her people to feed her from the table, just a little bit every now and then. And she trained them to let her sleep at the foot of their beds. I don't know if any of you have dogs for pets, but sometimes they like to sleep on the bed with you. I know I had a cat who liked to sleep on the bed with me. She brought in their morning paper and most of the mail. She ran when Jim Dear whistled, coming home at night. And if you see, there she is. Lady's got the newspaper in her mouth, and she's taking it up to the people who live in the house. Lady was sure that she had a very happy home. And her two next-door neighbors, Jock and Trusty by name, two gentlemanly dogs, agreed with her that she was a lucky dog indeed. But there was another dog around the neighborhood, a saucy young fellow called the Tramp. "I'll wear no man's collar," was his proud boast. "That's the way to be happy," he said to her. "Oh, but where do you sleep?" Lady asked him. "And what do you do for food?" "Oh, that's easily arranged if you know your way around," said the Tramp with a jaunty air. "And as for you, my proud beauty, you'll find things very different when a baby comes to your house to stay. For there's only so much room for love in people's hearts. And when a baby comes in, out goes the dog." Well, I hope that isn't the case, but that's what the Tramp thinks. His strange words worried Lady. They worried her even more when a baby did come to her house to live. Not that Darling and Jim Dear didn't mean to be kind, but they were very busy now with that baby. And worst of all, Darling's Aunt Sarah came to visit. "That dog," she said, "it must stay out in the yard, and you'll have to put a muzzle on it." "Uh-oh," said the Tramp when he saw Lady. "So it's happened already, just as I said. Well, I'm sorry to see it, but come along, we'll get rid of that muzzle pretty soon." See the muzzle that's over her mouth? I guess Aunt Sarah is afraid that he might bite the baby, but I don't believe Lady would ever do that. "Come along," cried Lady. "Can't you see I'm tied?" "I forgot," said the Tramp. "You've a lot to learn." So he showed her how to lunge against the rope until quite soon it broke. Then away they went to get the muzzle off. Lady could not imagine what the Tramp planned, but he led her straight across town, past the guards at the gate of the zoo. There they were to meet Beaver. Now, what do we know about beavers? Well, we have a picture here of a beaver, and see those teeth in his mouth? Those teeth are used to gnaw branches from trees so that he can build his home in a lake or a river as a dam. "Hi there," said the Tramp. "Like to help us out here?" "Sure," said Beaver, always glad to oblige. "Say, miss, that's a fine muzzle you have there." "That's just what we want to get rid of," the Tramp said. "You can have it if you can get it off." So Beaver chewed the muzzle off, and when Lady and the Tramp left, after thanking him, he was already trying it on. See, he's trying it on his face. "Now where?" said the Tramp. "The world is wide. We'll go anywhere you say." "Oh, I must go home," said Lady. "I have to watch the house and the baby, you know." "Home," said the Tramp, "after the muzzle and all? I'll never understand a woman's mind." But he went along with her anyway. Just as they reached Lady's yard, they saw a light, a very strange light, flickering in the kitchen. It was a fire. It was just a little flame, but they knew it should not be burning in there. "The baby!" cried Lady, and in she raced, with the Tramp right at her heels. And the Tramp stood guard at the baby's crib, while Lady woke Jim Dear and Darling. Look at Jim. He's running as fast as he can. What a time! When Darling and Jim Dear woke up, the baby began to cry. At first, Darling and Jim Dear blamed Lady and the tramp, but when they saw the fire, all that was changed. "Well, thanks, young fella," said Jim Dear to the tramp after he'd put the fire out. "Looks as if you found yourself a home and a job. Shall we go down tomorrow for a license and a collar so everything will be set?" The license is something that people who have dogs have to have. When you have a dog, you have to get a license, particularly when you're living in a suburban or city area. The tramp looked out the window where the wide world waited. Then he looked at Lady by his side. "Orf," he said, which means all right, and he offered Jim a paw to shake. Now Lady and the tramp have two families to look after. Darling and Jim Dear and the baby are one of the families. You can see they're keeping an eye on the baby, make sure he's happy. And the other is a family of roly-poly puppies, and the tramp in his collar is the proudest dog in town. Now, if you remember, the tramp did not want to wear a collar. He said, "No man's going to put a collar on me." But he decided he loved Lady and he wanted to stay with her. And I think they had these little baby puppies that look a lot like Lady. And that's the end of that little golden book, Lady and the Tramp. Now I have one more story that I'm going to read to you today. It's called Jack and the Beanstalk. And it's another little golden book, but it's not Disney this time. It's a story retold by Rita Balducci and illustrated by Richard Waltz. Now, Jack and the Beanstalk actually is an old story. It's been told and retold many times in many different ways with lots of different kinds of illustrations. So we'll see how the illustrations tell this story. Once upon a time, there was a young boy named Jack. He lived with his mother in a very simple cottage. Well, this looks like a very simple cottage. It also looks very poor. They were poor, and they hardly had enough to eat. Their only possessions in the world was this cow. One day, Jack's mother said to him, "We have no money left to buy food. We will have to sell our cow. Take her into town and get the best price you can for her." That's leaving a lot of responsibility to her son, isn't it? And so Jack led the cow down the road towards town. He hadn't gone far when he met a strange little man. "What an excellent beast!" cried the man, patting Jack's cow. "I must have her for my own." "Well, what will you give me in return?" asked Jack. "Why, I'll trade you these beans for the cow," said the little man. "They're magic." Jack's eyes grew wide. "It's a deal," he said happily. The little man handed Jack some shiny red beans. Then he quickly disappeared with the cow. Jack was very excited. He thought these magic beans that he had gotten were quite wonderful. He ran home as fast as he could. "Mother, I traded the cow for some magic beans." "Oh, Jack," his mother cried, "how could you? Now our cow is gone, and all we have are these hard little beans. You've been tricked." She was so upset that she threw the beans out the window into the dry, empty garden. There was no supper that night for Jack or his mother. They went to bed with hearts heavy with worry, and I would think they went to bed quite hungry. When Jack awoke the next morning, his room was dark and cool. "Well, it must be a cloudy day," he thought, poking his head out the window. Jack gasped. It was not clouds that were blocking the sun. It was a tremendous beanstalk growing in the garden. Its leaves were as wide as a bed. Its trunk was as big as the cottage. Jack stretched his neck to see how high it grew, but the top of the stalk disappeared all the way into the clouds in the sky. That's quite a stalk, you see, growing up there. We run around his house. Quick as a wink, Jack scrambled out of the window and began to climb the beanstalk. High into the soft white clouds he climbed until he found himself before a gigantic castle with a huge wooden door. Jack was able to squeeze through a crack in the wood. What he saw inside made him shiver with fright. A horrible giant was seated at the table, slurping an enormous bowl of soup. I think that would frighten me too. Oh, look at this giant. He is huge. Suddenly, the giant stood up and he slammed his huge fist on the table. The whole room shook. Dishes crashed to the floor. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a little one, roared the giant. Then he looked around the room wildly, but he did not see Jack because he was hiding behind this bucket. The giant sat down again, grumbling to himself. Jack watched as the giant reached into a sack and pulled out a tiny white hen. Here's this little hen. He placed the hen on the table. Lay me an egg. Add to my treasure. Make me rich beyond all measure, the giant commanded. The little hen clucked and laid a golden egg right on the table. Jack tiptoed closer to look at the gleaming golden egg. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The giant then brought out a beautiful little harp from his cupboard and placed it on the table. A song for me and do your best. I need a song to take my rest, the giant said to the harp. The magical harp began to sing a beautiful, sweet song. Soon the giant was lulled to sleep. Here's the harp right here. Jack was amazed. A harp that can sing, he said to himself. A hen that lays golden eggs. I must take these treasures home with me. Like a little mouse, Jack scurried across the wide floor and quickly climbed up the table leg. Then he tucked the hen into his shirt and slipped the harp under his arm. But the harp began to cry out, waking the giant. Well, there he is with one eye open. Fee, fi, fo, fum, thundered the giant, rising to his feet. Who dares to steal from the giant one? Jack raced out of the castle with the giant right behind him. The hen clucked and the harp screamed, but Jack never looked back. He began to climb down the beanstalk as fast as he could go, hand over fist. So, excuse me. Excuse me. So we'll go on. Suddenly the beanstalk shook mightily. The giant was climbing down after Jack. Jack scrambled down even faster. When he neared the ground, he jumped and ran, and just in time. Crack! The beanstalk broke in two. Down, down the giant fell. He crashed into the ground, deep into the earth, and he was gone forever. Jack's mother ran from the cottage when she heard the commotion. Why, that's your father's hen and harp, she cried. A terrible giant stole them from us years ago. Now that we have our treasure back, we'll never go hungry again. And so Jack and his mother were able to live happily ever after. Now, I was thinking as I was reading the story, and I was thinking he was stealing something that did not belong to him by taking the little white hen and the harp and running away from the giant. I can understand this wanting to run away from the giant. But as it turned out, he wasn't really stealing them. They really belonged to him and his mom. because that giant had stolen them a long time ago from Jack's father. Well, that is the end of our stories for today. I just would like to make a couple of announcements, though, of things that are coming up for the library in town. As you know, we're going to be having fundraisers for probably several years while we try to raise enough money to build a new library near Kingsman Park. So one of the first fundraisers is going to be August the 8th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Ballroom at Bethel, which is 3737 Falk Road, and it's in Garnet Valley. The tickets are $55 a piece. It's all you can eat. It's a crab fest, and it's all you can eat. It's all kinds of food other than crabs. And most of the tickets have been sold already. I heard yesterday from Betsy Barnes, who is the director of the Upper Chichester Library, that we had 11 tickets left. So if anyone would be interested in a very festive fundraiser for our new library with a lot of great food, please consider coming into the library to buy those tickets. Now, the other fundraiser that we're having is every year, as you know, we have a book sale. They're basically from books that have been donated from you, the people who live in Upper Chichester. We have run out of storage space, though. So we're not taking donated books right at this time. We will be taking them the day before the sale begins. You can drop them off September 7th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then the book sale will take place at the Upper Chichester Township Municipal Building, which is 8500 Fury Road, Upper Chi. And then the book sale dates themselves, it will be Wednesday, September the 8th to September 9th, September 10th, and from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. On Saturday, it will be, on September 11th, it will be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So, if you have any questions, you can call the library at 610-485-0200. And we certainly do want those donations. It's just we've run out of space to store them. So please consider bringing any donated books that you might have to the library the day before the sale. The sale itself is Wednesday the 8th through September the 10th, mostly from 8 to 4 p.m. those days. So I hope that we'll see you there. There will be plenty of children's books as well that you can pick up. Goodbye for now. I'll see you next week.